blessed another day. Give thanks for life, and may blessings reach anyone who view this video. Love and honor. So I was going through some thoughts today, and I know that certain news right now basically on the charts. And that shooting that happened at Uvalde, Texas. Sometimes you hear these news and they play it a lot, and sometimes you kind of get tired of it. But what we don't recognize is the impact that it has on our psyche. So the reason why I did this video is because I saw something pop up on my Instagram today. It was Krayzie talking about the music industry and this specific meeting that happened that basically changed the course of music, specifically hip-hop music, right? There's a reason why I bring this up, because right now with Uvalde, the whole thing is, why didn't the law enforcement, the SWAT team, police, whatever, why didn't they just just go in, basically rush in, in a more speedy fashion to save more lives, or whatever the case may be? So there's a relation. It's a teachable moment. There are a lot of things happening, as in the world and in each of our lives. But sometimes we gotta take time to break down our own life and what's being fed to us. But every now and again, I decided to dig a little bit, but not too deep. So I looked up the word Uvalde. It didn't have a meaning except for that place in Texas. Now you wonder how these words come to be. It's funny how, it's like a mystic thing that happened, and you wonder how are things so coincidental, right? So I looked up the word Val, right? And Val says VAL, worth, health, and strength, right? And I looked up D, or day, DE, down, away, denoting removal or reversal. And then I looked up U. It's rare that I look up a letter, but U, ironically, is the 21st letter in the alphabet. How did these things come to be, right? U, the 21st letter, Val, worth, health, strength, and day, down, away, denoting removal or reversal. I noticed that a lot of the population in that area or that particular school are what we would call, Mexicans, So how do I relate that to the Krayzie thing? So Krayzie said that he was involved in this meeting and he signed a contract of silence, right? And it took him 20 years to expose this thing. He said he weighed the pros and the cons, right? He weighed the pros and the cons. Understandable. Your family safety is important. Your safety. Everybody wants to live a long, fruitful life. And he mentioned about the prison industrial complex, like they specifically wanted to do basically gangster rap, or to promote criminal activity in music, and rap was the perfect vehicle. It took him 20 years. Now, at the time, even the hosts for the show, they were giving him big ups. People in the comments giving him big ups, saying, you know, he's a good man. But when I saw it, I said to myself, I can't give him any kudos. Even if that video is like it's posted a year ago, but maybe it's even earlier. Maybe it was 10 years ago the actual thing was actually broadcasted or recorded. But you say to yourself, if 20 years go by and you see systematically year after year that what that meeting wanted to achieve, it achieved it. But then many people, a generation of people, went to prison. They started to promote that negative frequency. A lot of families suffered, a lot of beefs, a lot of murders because of the influence of music. So you see, when you weigh these pros and cons, you have to say to yourself, am I willing to sacrifice myself as the sacrificial lamb? Or am I willing to make generations of people be manipulated down the road of negativity, where more people than my family and myself will suffer and cast a whole shadow over a generation, and you can't even reverse that shadow? So the reason why I correlate the Uvalde situation and this thing is because people don't want to jump in the fight. They don't want to jump in at that time and deal with it to get it out of the way, because they're looking at it from a perspective of, well, I can't really do anything about it. I can't change it. At the end of the day, I'm going to make my money and protect my family. You know, it's way where morality is concerned and what we should sacrifice, knowing what we have gone through as a people. You know what I'm saying? It's like a mystic thing. You know, it's saddening. It's a sad situation, man. You know, over the years you hear about music and the Illuminati and the rituals and the, you know, you say to yourself, at first it started out as conspiracy, then people try to expose and you know, the Buffalo shooting, they talk about this man, Aaron Salter. So this man patented some technology. I guess he regarded himself as an inventor, where he can utilize electrolysis and, you know, hydrogen and power a combustible engine. You know, some people are saying, well, he was the main target, da. I don't know how true that is, but I do know people who tamper with that type of technology, they always end up dead. If y'all even go and check it or do the research. Yeah, so apparently even this other inventor, this young man from Africa, right? I guess he created a system where you could watch a TV without electricity. I guess feeding off of the frequencies in the atmosphere. See the mystic of that? I think I've spoken of that because I've kind of thought of it, where all these frequencies are out here. Some are detected and some are not detected yet because we don't have the equipment or the technology too. So he tapped into this thing. And my brethren was telling me, I saw an article on it, but I never read it. But my brethren at work was telling me, yo, they poisoned this man. The reason why I mentioned that is just to show the power of frequency and how it's not even fully tapped into yet. Just like in the air and the atmosphere, there's a lot of things happening that we haven't tapped into yet. But what we do, you know, they have scientists who you know, they get millions and billions of dollars to research and spend their whole lives detecting these things for their benefit. Yes, it contributes to society, but who controls and governs all those things? You know what I'm saying? So this Uvalde thing could be even deeper. Why is it the letter U is the 21st letter in the alphabet, and it's supposedly 24 people who got killed? Why is that coincidence? Why should any type of coincidence relate? 19 children, 2 adult teachers. Apparently, the murderer's grandmother might still be in critical condition. If she passes, that will be 22, and who knows, there might be more. But why is it that these guys didn't rush in? They have all this equipment, they have SWAT, they have all manner of weaponry. You know, you see the mistake, how these guys are cowards? Not unless this thing is actually set up. These things may seem like a random act or event, but man, we don't really know. These military guys and police force, they have strength for an unarmed man on the street, quick to murder because their judicial system will back them. But where children are concerned, would they have rushed in if it was Caucasian or white children? You know, it's sad that we have to ask these types of questions. It's actually sad. It's sad that we have to ask these types of questions, man. A lot of times we don't nip things in the bud, you know. I guess it's human nature, but you have to evaluate when it is something major that can affect a people, a generation. You just have to sacrifice yourself, man. You can't wait 20 years and then you make your money, because that means you made your money off of the blood off of these people. You know, they disassemble the families, the pain and the suffering of others. You know, so they claim that they signed, he's claimed that they signed a contract, but as we know, a lot of these guys even sign their innocence. A lot of these women go through all kind of gangbangs and all kind of stuff like that just to get certain positions. That is the world we live in, where industry is concerned, music industry. You know, I watch a lot of documentaries on reggae music and how promoters and producers like rip them off for years, since the 60s, 70s, and even in the States, Motown and, you know, all these record companies, man, they have robbed so many people and have garnered massive wealth off of the talents and creativity and artistry of the people. This is what I always say, is like a blood-sucking kind of vibes that we live in. A lot of, you know, vampirism. You know. So, you know, sometimes you may have the talent to do something, but you don't necessarily have the drive to do it. But that doesn't mean that you don't encourage someone else to do it, who you figure could possibly be successful at it. It doesn't have to be worldwide, mainstream, international successful. It could be local successful. It could be just a thing just to get their creative juices flowing. You encourage them. I know I've been in that situation. You know, everybody have different hardships in their lives. And, you know, in certain periods in my life, I had certain responsibilities, had to work and so on. But then I would have brethren that seemed to have a lot of time on their hands. You know, a lot of time. So, typically, even when their people encounter me, they sense a certain level of responsibility about me. You know, one particular brethren had a lot of time in his hands, man. You know, sometimes for months on top of months, years on top of years, you call this brethren and it's like the man is getting up out of his bed. And I'm pulling crazy hours during the week. You know, go and check this man. This man still have sleep in his eyes. And I'm saying to myself, you know, how? This youth seem intelligent enough and talented enough to be doing something. You know? So next thing you know, I notice his mother kind of urging me in a way to speak to him. And then his girlfriend, you know, at the time, you know, who is his wife, you know, would kind of utter the same sentiments and say, you know, the stubbornness and sometimes the anger, you know. So me and this brethren had a good, cool relationship. So the thing is now, this brethren, right, he would proclaim this philosophy, you know, from a particular book. So me and him would reason all the time. And this book spoke about discourse and, you know what I'm saying, doing good unto others and using certain techniques that, you know, I don't know if you want to call them spirits or angels, would use to encourage mortals to go in a particular direction. So what I did, I said, yo, let me test this philosophy. Let me test it. Let me try to utilize it on the same brethren that was speaking these vibes about other entities, but he himself wasn't utilizing. So what I did was, right, I got intrigued by a web series, right? So I was like, yo, this man is a good musician, but his music just stagnant. He record great production, you know, good lyrics. So I started to think to myself, if I was a high-ranking angel in this particular book, how would I encourage this brethren to get to the next step? And then it hit me. I said to myself, yo, he needs to do videos. He needs to get camera equipment, do videos, and then segue into maybe web series and then movies, right? So, and I know he's a brethren that I reason with, you know, you could see headstrong kind of vibes, but then still good to reason with and so on. So I said to myself one day, let me tell him about this web series that I saw and try to explain to him the possibilities of this thing. This is about 8 years ago, you know? And then I was encouraging him. I was like, yo, show it to your girlfriend, you know what I'm saying? She gonna like it, y'all can sit down and watch it. Just trying to steer him in a direction of thinking web series. So after a while, he never really gravitated to that. So I started to talk about, okay, yo, time for knock out some videos for your music and so on, man. You know what I'm saying? So then one day he called me up. And I guess he had some little flimsy video camera or whatever. And he showed me a small clip of him rapping on the video. And I said, blessed, yes, that is the move right there. That is the move. From there, you know what I'm saying, videos for the music, web series, then man gets into movies. And I kept preaching that. You know, I like to see if you call them holy scriptures or certain books, where you can utilize them positively in a practical sense. I like to do those types of experiments. So still he didn't catch on to the web series movies part, but then he was encouraged to start, okay, you know what? Yeah, I need to do some videos for my music. And so I went ahead and bought a camera, right? But then what was encouraging is that he went ahead also and decided to get a camera rather than borrowing my camera. So he got his vibes, however he got it. And that was kind of the start. So next thing you know, a brethren that lived next door to him started to do a web series. But it's a web series about street vibes, street activities, So he decided to follow that suit. And then he started watching these web series from up top, up in New York and so on, you know what I'm saying? And got the motivation to do it. And so we started. I was still working a lot, but I would always lend my time, lend my presence, to the point where things went good, for someone who was not doing anything, and even within that time he kind of developed other things to try to, to bring in income and so on, which was good. But there's certain periods where you can see his head was kind of blown. But nevertheless, you have to encourage people so that they can have their trial and errors and see, and sometimes they don't even recognize what's happening, and they may not even give you the credit. This is why I say sometimes we have to be sacrificial lambs, and we can't wait and let 10 years go by, 5 years go by. We have to encourage, and we have to jump in, you know what I'm saying, to save an individual or save a whole group of people. If we have knowledge of something, we don't keep it for ourselves. We discuss with someone, show them the practicality of it and how man can finesse it and attach their creativity to it and do things, because you never know where things can lead, and you never know who's watching or who's listening. You know what I'm saying? But it is also important that when you start these things to evolve and not stay in the same place. So like that brethren, I have love for a lot of my brethren, but sometimes we bump shoulders because sometimes guys become too big-headed, and sometimes you have to realize that you may not be able to do something because of where you are in life and what you have to take care of, but you can't be afraid to creatively encourage someone and assist them if you can. You know what I'm saying? Time is money, and sometimes money was also the contribution in little ways at certain times, just to kind of show. And sometimes you have to realize, for a lot of people, I don't know why it always seems like whenever I come into their lives, it's like the people who they used to rock with don't really rock with them on a close level. They may have in the past, but that particular time when I step on the scene, I don't know if that's the way with the people who are watching, maybe sometimes, but and they would complain that, I don't get no support, nobody this and nobody that. Over time, you kind of can see why. You see maybe certain levels of insecurity or immaturity, or other people decide, it's time for me to move and evolve when some people want to stay at a certain level. So this is why sometimes you do have to lend your time. Sometimes you do have to even lend money or give money and sacrifice in that way if you figure that person is important enough and you can lead them in a good direction. And don't look for no credit. If it come, it come. If it doesn't. But one thing you never do is never take disrespect from people who you help. That is the one thing. But anyway, man, the Uvalde thing and the Buffalo thing, everything that happens seems to have some kind of mystic attached to it. It's never just that thing on the surface. The way you see society running on the spirit, that overlay, these things are planned. Just like the Vatican, they may plan something 2,000 years for this 21st century. That is how they plan. They don't plan last week for this week. They plan centuries in advance. And I feel like that is an old technique that we had. That is why even in Egypt, they would do certain practices because they figured that, look man, we're going to be existing in the future, the far future. So we have to do these certain things to prepare ourselves. And I think that is what has been lost. We are too day to day and week to week, check to check. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that money is everything, but even mentality wise, you know, you're supposed to always be thinking into the future, you know. So yes, just paying attention, you know, to the news, to world news and the social construct, as we all should do. Meantime, trying to survive, you know, because we don't know when that next thing is going to happen, and life is not guaranteed. But if we can somehow leave a good legacy and a good mark, deep inside, people will understand and remember, you know what? Yeah, this person helped me in a particular way. I can't even front. You know? And sometimes it's not for the sacrificial lamb to get the credit. Sometimes it's for a younger generation or someone who you don't even know. Because sometimes you can tell something to someone, they act like as if they disregard it, but then they spread it to someone who spread it to 100 people. And that is the thing, you know. That is how we contribute to the village. In love and light. You know, and ascension and evolution. You know. So, yeah, all I can say is to the people is, you know, just pay attention to everything happening. Know that everything happened for a reason. You know, sometimes something can seem so cliche, but no man, the consistency of nature shows us that cliche is the thing. You know, pay attention to these consistencies. The funny thing is, somebody will see something consistently happen and don't make the adjustment when it's consistently happening. You know, what we're being fed all the time. You know, we have to be able to make adjustments to it if we want change. And that's just how it goes. So we don't know what the next thing is. You know, we don't know what the next thing is. But if you just trust in the Creator and trust in your own divinity, you know, if we can somehow externalize our internal divine, our internal divinity, we will be alright, you know, for eternity. Yes, I.
All worlds, all heavens, all hells, all realms, the actual, the Creator is one. And I speak not of your gods, lords, or saviors. I'm not a legend, I'm not a legend, I am not a legend, I am only one of them. Countless in the realm, countless worlds no end, countless of heavens that chant out of the west. I'm amalgamated, I am a killer. I put one in your head like Nigirogin. E-F-I-L-L-O-V-E-E-O-L. Live the life, you love the life, you live the vision. If your body ill, you're sexy. E-V-I-L. Uriah sometimes goes too far. He's not very social or outspoken. He's lonely, locked in his place of only he knows those things ain't him. When the dead open their eyes and the rich will shake their lives, thought that there were no sky gods, but all things were in the skies. All the countenance of men, am I really dead? Then they thought that no man knows how they came to life. The voices in my head, yes, I matter comprehends to prove ancient intelligence with their archaeological finds. Our words are rounded, yet our men want an edge. J-E-S-U-S-S-U-S-E, Jesus edge. They cannot see void and they could not even dream void. The smoothest surfaces and sharpest edges, they can't define the eyes. Why not all things did off with all their heads? Why they need be witnesses to the signature of the realm? Not know that holy book could even fully no stones molding could even name parallel. While angels fell, I am only one of them, a chant out of hell. Who appraise them, ironically, they are locked into their cells. Techno-social biology, locked into by cell. Entrance them in their spellbound and bind them in gospel. Do they ever ask themselves how many words they ended? Invert many of them and get the perfect accident. Antigua, I said, my vineyard, Uriah is closed. He's not open, no you to read deals with everyone like that. He has no friends anymore. I am not a legend in singer. You are right all along. Know that I'm grown. I know they all talk to themselves. You said that the sofa would be suffix in the prefix on the sentence. They said voted I and yet they voted. We're engineered, mechanized, thought projections may apply. An angel older than countless worlds asked how old is the sky. And this matter between corporeal men and angels, both concluded there's no beginning. And if we're not allowed to burn the herb, you're not allowed to blood suck. If we're not allowed to burn the herb, you're not allowed to butt. No ifs, ands, or buts, you medieval sword fighting men. You're not allowed to make no laws for the chosen. You are murderer, rape, you are dishonor. You have never paid homage to the great spirit of Guatemala. You brought your dirty foreign false, cause look for them are nothing but land owner. Where's your ID to your native persona? You see the primary education is the world that you're on. One time you talk to a little daughter, she say, why you dead man? She asks you when you refer to the creator, what do you refer to him as him? I said I refer to the creator as him simply because I am brought to a land. Did you mean her? She said I know what I asked. I said there's the actual duality in one person. It's so if you're a child of the Most High and likewise I am, that I am, you can see the creator's goddess are in fullness. You can see the creator as one. Sister exam, sometimes the boy talk to himself and say, yo, easy, stick it, boy, scan. Only one of them, one scan.